And welcome back to some more RalliSport Challenge. This is part 4, and in today's part, we're going to be here for a little bit of a while doing 9 rally stages for the Pro Rally Cup, going across various different terrains, 2 of which we've already been to before. But we start off with the Pacific Stage 1, and we're going to be using the Citroen Zara kit card that we unlocked in the previous part for this outing. Because, well, it's a new vehicle, we thought, why not? And we thought, why not? No, I thought, why not? I'm not good with the commentary, I swear. But anyways, so yeah, the Citroen Zara is a bit of an interesting car. You might have noticed from the start there, it actually gets a better start than most of the vehicles, and I think it might just be how they front-wheel drive is in this game. Yes, this car is in fact front-wheel drive, because this is based on the kit car variant, not the later WRC variants that would enter around, I think it was, what, 2002? It was either 2001 or 2002 when the WRC model entered. I want to say it was 2002 when they went from kit car to WRC. That's just me having a guess, though, because I'm not the most knowledgeable about it. But yeah, it tends to get really good starts off the line, and in a game like this, where the AI always just seems to have like these outlandishly quick starts, compared to you, it can at least help kind of make a difference in some regards. One thing, I don't know why I paused there in my mind. The one thing it can't really do though is, well, make much more in the way of handling. It's pretty much the same sort of deal as we've been seeing before with most of the vehicles. So even though that was quite rough, still a win, because early parts of the game are at least forgiving enough. Anyways, the second stage of the Pacific Rally. Yeah, Pacific is particularly rather muddy, which makes sort of sense for the sort of game that we're playing after all. Relatively bright days and stuff. Yeah, one thing especially that I really had to pick up on the more I was playing through this is really the best way to get the most out of the vehicles is you kind of have to start preparing the car before the turn comes up, and then once the turn starts, you kind of already want to have your car just about ready in the angle that you need for the particular line. So it's that sort of thing where you want to really kind of prepare yourself, because even if you're even a little bit late, you could start going wide or head off the track and stuff, and this is one of those games where timing is really important, because otherwise you're not going to get the most out of it. And you also have to be careful too in terms of the angle, because if you give it just a little too much stick turning into the direction, you can actually lose a lot of the momentum given to your car, and that can really screw your time up, especially in some of the later stages where you really can't afford to be having sort of moments like that. But because, man, you really, like I said, this game, even at this point, even though we're not in the we're not in the severe waters just yet, it definitely is going to be getting there pretty soon, to say the least. And believe me, you'll notice how severe things get once I get to that point. But at least for most people who are just trying to play the game, and maybe they just expected that not a lot of people were going to be getting particularly too far, or maybe they just didn't realize how much more severe it gets later on. But yeah, it's certainly something. Anyways, the third stage, and now we all that nice sunlight is gone, replaced with dreary clouds and rain and miserableness. And yeah, that can happen on this particular one. You gotta really be careful there, or you'll just go a little bit off and put yourself in a situation where, yeah, restarting pretty much is kind of necessary. See, even that small little reset, and I'm 6 seconds back. I say small little reset, I mean, considering I came to a stop, then hit the reset, it's probably not overly surprising, so... But, yeah, this... Despite that, though, the later bit of this stage really starts to open up, and you got more space to work with, as you can see here. In fact, quite a notable bit. So even if you are just a little bit late on this theory, because you got so much space suddenly and so much runoff, it's not really going to affect you much at all. If any, it won't really hurt your time too badly. That was just poor on my part. I just did a really poor job in that particular section there, and you can see that I briefly lost a couple positions there, but was able to get back into first just before hitting the checkpoint there. So, you know, could have been worse. Could have also been better. But I guess, but who's really surprised by that? Not me. But that's all the Pacific stages that we're going to be doing in this cup. So we at least get to see what this area looks like at this point in the game. But for now, for the rest of it, we're going to be returning to the two rally areas that we had in the first and third cups. So first off, we have the second stage for the Safari, which is mostly a lot of just high speed and a few turns here and there, really. Like, you just have your few little things here and there, but once you get past that, it's a lot of speed. And yeah, keep an eye on later parts in that particular little chicane section there, because believe me, you're gonna notice how I do in that area with some of the faster vehicles. It's gonna be a bit amusing, to say the least. So I know for going into making this video that I know I'm not the only person who is doing a playthrough of this. I know there's the Racing Game Archive channel has done a full playthrough of this game before, and I know there's some people who's done like various stuff, and some people who are just really damn good at this game, way more than I probably ever could be. But it's just, to me, I do like to take a look at this footage sometimes, and it's always just particularly really interesting to look at in terms of how some things get. In fact, I've even got to look it up. Like, what do you even get if you search it? You get a review, you get gameplay of the PC version, which, again, if I did do this on the PC, the footage would look a bit nicer, because not having to worry about running this on console, so things would be cleaner. But having played the PC version, as I mentioned in the last part, you need to use like a hex editor to get the game to run in the proper 16:9 widescreen. Though keep in mind, I had done this many years ago. So maybe it's possible that someone has made some sort of plugin or script or something that just does it for you, rather than doing it manually. But I don't know. It's been a long time since I last checked. As we go down back to the first Safari stage, and I apologize if my voice sounds a little bit rough in certain areas. At the time I'm doing this, I've been up for a little while because my sleep schedule's a bit all over the place lately. I'm not really sure what causes why I'm been up at certain times the way it's been. It's just a situation. It's really just a situation of things, I guess. Only so much I can do about that, though. I guess I'm at a point in my life where it's like everything is just kind of all over the place with it. Who knows? Yes, thank you, phone. I hear you. One thing I will say about that, what was actually kind of cool about the PC version, just bringing the PC version back up, is the game does actually have some sort of online play. I think it may. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember in terms of how it was set up. I think it was. It might have technically been. Okay, I remember now. It was like if you've ever played like older, like if you remember like Need for Speed 3 or 4 on PC or the Midtown Madness games, you'll know that those games pretty much always have a working online. Their original, like, you know, the EA Racing servers or the MSN Gaming Zone for Midtown Madness, those are gone. Those have been retired many years ago. So those online servers, like that more kind of easy setup thing, has been gone for a long time. But back in the day, you had a lot more of these games that had online via a direct TCP/IP connection. So meaning that if someone could set up a session and then they would have to use an IP to connect to that, which, you know, isn't exactly the most privately secure, like isn't the most privately, you know, like confidential wise, but of course, it's a setup that works because so long as that's a feature or that's available in games, it pretty much means that if you give the game like all the same kind of other online features, it's a game that will technically, as far as we know, will pretty much never lose online play. Online play in some capacity will always be a thing. It just might not be like some sort of like arena thing or server thing with like leaderboards or stuff, because that sort of setup makes that kind of impossible to keep. But it is still a neat feature because it means that if you have the buddies or you have friends you want to do that sort of thing with, you can do it, and it pretty much means that in some form or another, no matter how much time passes by with these games, it'll always be a thing, and it's really cool. And I'm glad that, you know, it was a thing that was used in some games. It is a little bit of a shame that that sort of thing isn't particularly something we see as much anymore. But again, it's not, people do tend to prefer the sort of lobbies and stuff where they don't have to worry about sending people that a sort of IP thing, because obviously, you know, that's not exactly the sort of thing that a lot of people are going to be the most comfortable with, which makes sense. It's not exactly something you want to. It isn't exactly the sort of thing you want to give out to people, because it might just, it would probably make them fairly uncomfortable. So holy crap, I'm actually going to stop for a second because I need to take a drink. Oh yeah, you're probably hearing it in my voice there. It's just my voice was like completely giving up. It's becoming really sort of kind of raspy and not sounding like my words were fully coming out. Yeah, you know though, it's just kind of how it is, I guess. And I apologize, you know, I'm not always putting my focus and conversation on like what's happening on footage. It's a bit difficult with some games like this when you're doing post commentary. When you're doing it live, it's obviously a little bit easier because you could basically react as they happen, although what happened there is just laughably silly. I can't believe I managed to do that. But other than that though, it's like it's the sort of thing where you, like, when you're looking back at your footage, like, your mind sometimes likes to sprawl elsewhere and think of just about any sort of thing, because at least in my case, in the back part of my mind, I want to think of things to actually talk about. And sometimes I just find it's easier to just talk about various stuff, whether or not that it makes it like the sort of thing where it's like, God, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of like whether or not it's the sort of thing where it's like completely on point with what I'm talking about here. You know, it is what it is, but Anyways. Oh, man, just where my mind is kind of sprawling right now, just the things I'm thinking about, it's just, you know. And, yeah, that sort of happened. I've definitely not, it's no sort of genius when it comes to, driving in this game. In fact, yep, there it is. It makes a return. Apparently I still have not completely fully learned my lesson. Even seeing that just gives, I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words. Oh god, I'm on my nose. It's like really itching me. God damn it. But even despite like the mistakes, I still love the Mediterranean rallies. They're just so much fun. They're one of my favorites in the entire game. Something about tarmac rallies they always just hit me right. Maybe it's just because you have more grip because it's, you know, mostly on road and stuff rather than like off road and whatnot. But just I don't know, just something about it to me, just kind of hits. It just hits. Something about it just kind of hits special. So there's just like the sort of thing where, you know, you have that sort of extra grip, but you're also kind of teetering on, like, you know, narrow streets and whatnot, putting you a bit more on edge the whole time. It's just it gives more of an exciting thrill. So I think that probably is part of the reason why for me it's like that. But just you know. Like to mention, by the way, since I mentioned the time regarding sleep schedule, I'm recording this right now at just a little before 7:30 in the morning. Should I have gone to bed many hours ago? Yes. Would I have just lied there and not really got proper sleep? Yes. For whatever reason, especially over the last few years, it seems to be how it works for me is my system just shuts off when it decides it wants to, and then yeah, that's what it is. Maybe at some point, maybe I need to start taking a bit of melatonin and just kind of working towards just having a more consistent, try to at least get something a little more consistent going. I don't really know, to be honest. It's just kind of that sort of thing, I guess really. And I've got a slight itch in my beard. And yes, if you haven't seen my face before, to be fair, I don't really show my face much. I showed it a little bit. There was a period of time in 2019 I was sort of kind of experimenting with that, but then kind of, you know, also that sort of thing where it was like, maybe not so much. I do have a beard, because I know some people aren't particularly huge on beards, but I personally hate the way I look without one. Like, I don't like a clean shave. I do not like I actually really don't like the clean shaven look. For some people they don't. For some people they can live with it. For some people it's sort of their thing. It's not my thing. I don't like the clean. I just don't like the clean shaven look. It's just not for me. I used to like pretty much for me it was like, if I remember correctly, like I would always mostly keep it clean shaven, like even like when I was in high school, because that was just kind of what I did. But then after I got out of high school, I think what happened one day was like I was thinking to myself, like, why do I keep shaving this? Like, I want to actually see what I look like with a bit of a beard, because, you know, I've got a bit of red hair, nowhere near as bright as it used to be when I was younger, but it's still like I still have, like, you know, I mean, I've you know, I got a bit of that ginger hair. It would be neat to see what a bit of a ginger beard would like. And yeah, ever since I did that, I've never ever enjoyed looking at myself without a beard. Ever since then, it just looks, to me, it just looks wrong. It just doesn't, like, it makes me look way younger, and because I'm a large guy, you know, it shows that bit of chin, and it's like the beard can at least hide that. And yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things for me. Just that, yeah. I really am rambling about a bunch of nonsense, aren't I? I mean, again, that's kind of what I'm doing just to keep commentary consistent throughout the whole episode, so it doesn't sound like I'm going through periods where I'm just not talking about anything and you just hear like dead silence. Because for me, at least, when it comes to playthroughs with commentary, I like to keep the commentary consistent. Because if you go like long periods where there's nothing, I don't know, just to me, it kind of just feels like, what's the point of having commentary if you're not going to say a whole lot, you know? I don't know, that's just my way of looking at it. But we made it through all 9 rallies, and we got the win, and we walked another new car, a Nissan Micra. Kind of interesting to get a Micra here at this point, but still, it's a new car, and we've made enough points to qualify for the expert level, which is the next tier of rally events, starting with this one here, which we'll be doing in the next parts. So stay tuned for that. And as always, if you want to check out my links down below, they are in the description. $1 more, you get to see this video live a day earlier before it goes live to everyone else. $5 more, you get that special little appearance at the start of the video. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you all on the next one.